Okay, this is the Jetmach 60 by Laser Design Services. It's an all built up airframe with ply and balsa, and it's got a wingspan of 80 inches and a dry weight of about 15.5 pounds. And its power plant is a Jetjo 1400, which has had about 2 hours on it, 2 reliable hours on it. It's covered in monocoat and painted orange, and that's generally what it looks like. Okay, I'll remove the canopy here so that you can see some of the internals. Up the front are 3 power packs, all NiCads. There are 2 5-cell 1800 milliamp hour packs, which are independent of each other but both feed to the receiver, and you can see 2 power switches there for 2 power packs. Actually, the power packs were useful weight wise because it needed a considerable amount of nose weight. The other power pack is for the ECU for the turbine. There's a steering servo which you can see there, and also a servo for the brakes, which is there. Underneath this shelf here, under here, is the receiver, which is mounted to the floor, and it's a 2.4 gigahertz, and there's a remote receiver that's attached here. Okay, on this deck here you'll see there's a kill switch. That kill switch is operating, or it kills the power to the pump, which is here. There's also a servo arrangement here connected to a switch which enables me to switch off the turbine via the transmitter by removing power to the motor here. Further along we've got some valves, one for the fuel and one for the gas start. This is just a connector here which I can take off, which is just to enable me to attach the gas here. I can't quite do it while holding the camera. In there is the air trap in a tank here, and that's the ECU. All of the junctions have been wired. I'm not sure whether you can see this, but I've tried to make sure that all the connections between the various fittings and the tubing have been wired on so that they're nice and firm. And I think that's about all I can show you easily here. Okay, I've removed the wing from its saddle, so now we can see what's under here. There's I think it's a 1.5 litre fuel tank, and a couple of connections for the aileron and for the flaps for the wings. This is a connection for the wing to bolt through. These are captive nuts in here, although they're not the flat type captive nuts underneath. They're the ones that screw in using an oversized large coarse thread into this hardwood block here. Likewise on this side. There are 4 of them. There are another 2 at the back here. This is the rudder servo, which you can see is a pull-pull arrangement, and it's a low profile high-tech servo because it was running out of space height-wise to fit under the fit in the wing saddle space without touching the bottom of the wing once it's attached. And then you can see the turbine sitting in there, and you'll see there's a FOD, and there's a bunch of cables which have been connected to or tied to the side of the fuselage there to try and tidy up some of the arrangements cable wise. That's basically all you can see in that part of the aircraft. I'll turn the fuselage over. Okay, just while I've turned the fuselage over, I'll show you the nose wheel arrangement. This is the only brake on the aircraft. I didn't put brakes on the other parts of the undercut over here. Speaking to a local fella here in Canberra, he was of the view that just one brake at the front would be sufficient to slow this and stop this aircraft. Okay, zooming down to the motor, Jetmach 1400, I think about 2 hours on it. I could check that, but it's never actually flown. It's only been started up for trials, and basically it's been very reliable. I think we had one start or one non-start because it had weak gas, or at least that's what it said, but otherwise it's been very reliable. It's been attached with high tensile Allen head bolts through to lock nuts at the back, and I don't think there's any pinch points that are a problem with the lines, or any concern about the mounting, which is onto some hardwood blocks, but first onto some aluminium plates and then hardwood blocks. The tail of the fuselage is covered in a sheet of aluminium. I think it's about about 2mm aluminium, which has runs right to the back here. This is the underside of the tail feathers. Here is one of the elevator servos. I'll just zoom in here if I can. It's a Hyperion digital servo, very strong, high torque. The push rod is actually a metal rod, but on the outside is a carbon fibre rod to give it stiffness, and there should be no play in there whatsoever. Some heat does get to this area here. I've just been on a startup, and this is I think a nylon arm. Now I felt it after about 15 minutes of running the engine, and it was warm, but not what I'd describe as very hot, and it didn't seem to be softening or anything like that. So I just thought I'd raise that with you. It's something that might be. And there's another one on the other side, which you can see there. Down to the clevises and the horns. At this end, you can see actually they put some foil tape at the bottom, on the bottom of the elevators, because they do get warm when they're in the jet stream. So, but since having the foil there, it seems to have protected those much better. So that seems all like it's okay. I'm just trying to zoom in there on the control horns for the rudder. And that's really the underside of the aircraft. Just while I'm here, I should show you the control horn for the elevator. It's actually some carbon fibre sheet which I've epoxied right into the body of the elevator, so as to give it some sort of protection against any risk of softening with heat. It's deeply embedded in the material of the elevator and epoxied in. Okay, this is the underside of the wing. I've just reversed it and put it into the saddle of the aircraft. Not a lot to report here. There's some Hyperion servos with the same arrangement with this is a 3/16 metal rod covered by a carbon fibre tube that's all been locked together with nuts, which have been not lock nut, but they've got the Loctite material on them. The hinges are actually cloth hinges, a la the CA type hinges, but they're the ones that are recommended on the plans. That's the approach to hinging the ailerons and the flaps that were recommended in the instructions of the aircraft. And there's some of the leads, servo leads, and it's the other half of the wing.